Hi, I'm Jonathan Knight, and this is B-Movie Madness. The movie I'm going to talk about today, well, I got another slice of SOVHorror.com madness to talk about today. Another Joe Sherlock title. And if you've seen my previous reviews, you know I really like talking about Joe's stuff. Now, what is the next title I'm going to review from him? Well, find out after this intro. Welcome back. I'm really glad you came back. Now, if you need a reminder of the other Joe Sherlock stuff I reviewed for SOVHorror.com, I have them right here as a reminder. There was, Bloody Red Lips of Blood, SOV drive-in double feature of Crimson Heather and Lust of the Vampire Hookers, the SOV drive-in double feature of Monster in the Garage and Zombie Love Slave, the SOV drive-in double feature of Dimension of Blood and We Need Earth Women, and the last one I reviewed, Vampiriza's Velvet Vault of Horror. Now, the one I'm reviewing today is the one, the only, the legendary Trailer Park Double Wide Trilogy of Terror. Oh yeah, look at that title, look at that cover. It's banned in 13 countries for excessive amounts of cheese. Now that's a great cover right there. This is an anthology film, a double trilogy, because there's 6 stories instead of, 3. And so this one is much longer and bigger than Vampiriza, which was only 2 stories and a wraparound. It ran about 40 minutes. So this one's much bigger. And instead of reading the back, I usually read the plot description, but considering it's an anthology film, I'm just going to go story by story and give you my opinion, and then at the end I'll tell you as a whole what I thought of the movie. First of all, the stories are presented by, at least the first 3 stories are presented by a trailer trash babe, as I think she's listed as, played by Shannon, who was in Crimson Heather, Monster in the Garage, etc. She's been in a shit ton of Joe's stuff. She's a lot of fun. She looks like she's having a good time, drinking lots of beer, telling stories. And she's telling stories of weird stuff, crazy stuff that's happening in this trailer park. And story 1 is called Bad Housewife. And Bad Housewife is about a man who is obsessed with his TV. All he wants to do is watch TV, and as a result, his wife is being neglected. And she will do anything it takes to get his attention, including murder. If you're an anthology Tales of fan, you know exactly where the story is going to end up pretty much. But as a whole, I had a lot of fun with the story. Tom Schafer plays the man who is neglecting his wife. He's been in like almost all Joe's stuff that I've seen so far. I think I mentioned before he has sadly passed away. But he's a lot of fun here, and the movie does end on a satisfying, gory note. I will say that most of these stories are about 10 minutes or less, so they're not super long, but they, don't feel rushed, in my opinion. They're perfect for the runtime. He wrote stories that didn't overstay their welcome. But it was a lot of fun. Like I said, it does end on a very satisfying, gory note. So, yes, I really enjoyed Bad Housewife. Now, story 2 is called Scared to Death, and it's about a woman who keeps on having this recurring nightmare, and she's not sure if this nightmare is becoming reality or if she's just simply crazy. This one is actually a pretty cool one, mainly because of the twist at the end, which, for the most part, I'm not going to try to spoil things, but there's some things I'm going to have to spoil simply because I have to discuss them. But in this one, I won't spoil the twist at the end, but the twist at the end is very cool. Like I said, like the first one is very short, but the twist makes it, really work. For the most part, yeah, it's just a simple story with a really satisfying twist. Story 3 is called Caught on Tape, and I will say of all the stories in this movie, this one is my absolute favorite. It's also the longest. I think it runs almost 20 minutes, and it's about a B-movie reviewer, a horror movie reviewer called Dr. Popcorn, who was invited to visit the set of a no-budget horror movie, and ultimately, that no-budget horror movie ends up going the wrong direction. Things become terrifying fast. I'm trying my best to describe it the best way, but again, if you seen enough anthology stories, you kind of know what direction this one's going to take in. But I'm glad it took that direction, because I thought that was the direction it should take, and it was really satisfying. John Bowker plays the lead, the movie reviewer. He's a lot of fun as usual. Rob Miracle plays the movie director, and he's really fun as well. Overall, the cast does a good job, I think, and I love stories or movies about people making movies. I always find that interesting. So, yeah, this is my favorite one. I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked the direction it took, and in the end, it was very satisfying. Very satisfying. I keep on saying that a lot, but it was a lot of fun. Here's where this takes an interesting turn. Story 4 is actually the wraparound story. The wraparound with the trailer trash, but it ends up turning into a story itself, and a nightmare sequence, and then the host changes to a different person. Well, let me, it's kind of confusing, I guess, the way I'm describing it, but Story 4 doesn't have a name, but it's about the trailer trash baby. You find out that she's a woman who's having a nightmare about being the trailer trash baby or something, and she's worried that aliens are experimenting on her. This one has a story. It has very little story, but it has a very satisfying meltdown sequence, so I have to spoil it for that thing. And the new horror host ends up being a cleaning lady who has to come, and she cleans up lab experiments, etc. So she ends up telling stories about stuff she's seen on her job, and that turns into Story 5, which I think on the commentary they say it's called Head Nurse, and it's about a horror writer played by John Bowker, who was in Story 3, who sees this woman come into a circle, hey, a nurse. So he follows her home and starts writing a book. He gets inspired. So he follows her around into her, looks into her window of her apartment, but he ends up getting more than he bargained for when he sees something that he shouldn't probably have seen. Again, if you've seen, you kind of know what direction the story is going to take. But as usual, John's a lot of fun. The ending is really, has a really cool, gory effects. Simple but cool, gory effects. Overall, like the other ones, it's a fun story. You get some gore, you get some, good performances. So again, simple to the point, but a lot of fun. Story 6 is, I believe, called Zombies Are at My Door or something like that, and it's about a couple who go into the shack to make out, and this crazy man follows them in there and claims he has a gun, and he claims there's zombies outside. We need to stay in here. And of course, the question is are there really zombies outside, or is he just insane? Of the 6 stories, this one's probably my least favorite. I liked it still, but it just didn't. I wasn't as entertained by it like I was the previous 5 stories. But again, it still ended on a satisfying note, and I overall enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it as the rest. So as a whole, what did I think about Trailer Park Double Wide Trilogy Terror? Even though I was kind of iffy on Vampirese's Velvet Vault of Horror, I actually enjoyed Trailer Park Double Wide Trilogy of Terror. Full title. I really enjoy it. I think as a whole, it's a really fun SOV anthology, made with a lot of passion. It's very charming, has some fun gore, and just overall fun stories. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I do recommend it. If you're a fan of anthology films, I do recommend checking it out. If you're a fan of Joe's stuff, you probably have already seen this, but you need to pick up this edition, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. But overall, yeah, if you're a fan of this kind of stuff, absolutely recommend this. It's a really fun anthology film. Now, as for the special features, as usual, let me show you the back cover. Tony packs his shit. Sorry, my phone. Sorry. As usual, Tony really packs his shit tight. He really puts a lot of special features. The first special feature is an audio commentary with director Joe Sherlock and actor John Bowker. Much like their commentary tracks they've done for the other releases, it's really full of information about the production, the casting, and it also explains why there's the fourth story, the wraparound becomes the fourth story. Simply put, they only contain 3 stories. It was just called the Trilogy of Terror, or Trailer Park Trilogy of Terror. He wanted to add more stories, but he wanted to go a different direction, so that's why the host changed over from Trailer Babe to a cleaning lady. So there's a lot of information about the production on here. There is a making of documentary. It's about 9 minutes. It's basically like the video version of the commentary. You know, a condensed version. You get a lot of information in 9 minutes about the making of it. There's original cast interviews that were done during production. Some of them are a lot of fun. There's blooper and outtakes of it. If you're a fan of bloopers and outtakes, I do recommend checking that out. There's behind-the-scenes still gallery. I think they've been on the previous show, Sherlock stuff. Those are fun too. I've always liked looking at behind the scenes stuff, especially as someone who's into like low budget, no budget productions. There's a bonus short called Domestic Bliss, and it has Tom Schafer in it. It's a fun little 5-minute short. There's the Joe Sherlock trailer reel, which is just the trailers for Joe's stuff, and then of course there's the SOVHorror.com trailer vault, which, as usual, is if you have not watched any of these trailers, I recommend it because the trailers that Tony put together are really always a lot of fun, and he has some really cool ones on here. He does have one for Mr. Ice Cream Man, for example, which I still highly recommend if you have not seen Mr. Ice Cream Man. But overall, yes, this is a great package, and I want to show the inside of it because I always forget. Here's the original artwork I think Joe put together, and of course there's the cover art, or the CD cover. But like I said before, if you're a fan of SOV stuff and SOV anthologies or anthologies in general, I highly recommend checking this out. You can get this at SOVHorror.com. I will have a direct link to that down below. I also have a direct link to the merchandise store, so you can get like this badass shirt here, or a sticker, or a coffee mug, or a poster, or even a pillow. I'll have direct links to everything down below, and I will have the trailer at the end as usual. I will be having more reviews coming up. This one was delayed. I was supposed to have this in about 2 weeks. I think it's been a month now. So but the next reviews I will have out quicker. I have a Basement Videos review, and I will have another anthology review. Not by Joe Sherlock this time, but it's a really cool one. But that's it for now. If you like my channel, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, tell me down below what's your favorite, I think I've already asked this, what's your favorite anthology film? What's your favorite shot on video anthology film? If you have one, if you don't, just give me a regular anthology. But that's it for now. I'm Jonathan. It's been B-Move Madness. Thanks for watching.